Hey gang, Scott Davenport here. I have a tip for you in Lightroom for adding a pop to greens, foliage, in my case moss, using a brush and the hue slider along with a color range mask. You put all those together and you've got a very powerful brush. You can quickly add pop of green, make that foliage really jump out. So let's go into this photo here, and to set the stage, let's zoom in, put this collection of rocks with the moss up over on here, and I want to get this moss to pop up a little bit more. Well, instead of going into HSL and playing around with like shifting, usually we'd say like go yellow toward green. Well, look what happens to the sand, right? The sand gets this greenish tinge because there's a lot of yellow in the sand. I can't do it globally, so I want to do things locally using a brush. And I have an effect that I've already saved, but to see how this would work, the hue area, let's see, this would be normal, and something in the neighborhood of 10 to 12. We're kind of just shifting this pointer a little bit more toward the greens there. And once you've done this, if you're going to be using this kind of a tool or this effect often, save this as a preset for your local adjustments. Go up into the effect area and just save current settings as a new preset, and your presets can be added in down here. I've got one I just called foliage. You can see I've got an increase in the hue. So now when I brush, let's get a nice heavy flow setting, you'll see that green on that moss really pop up. Let me undo that and redo that. Now that's 2 out of the 3 steps, right? We've localized, we've done the hue adjustment. You want to also, at least for me, I like to use a color range mask to make sure I'm really only affecting the things that I care about. As we saw before, if I accidentally brush into the sand, we can see that there's this greenish tinge being taken on there. So I'm embracing my inner laziness here, and let's clear all that stuff out. Down in the bottom, put my first brush stroke on there. That opens up my range mask options. I can choose color, use the picker, and just pick one of those moss tones, like maybe right there. Now that's a subtle change, but I'll see if I can show you here the difference. So this is the overlay of the mask, and let's undo that color selection. So this is everything brushed in. If I pick that point, you can see it disappears from some of the rocks. I can adjust that range and really tighten it up so it's only affecting the moss. And if it's not getting everything, if I hover over this point here, you notice it says the color range selector. You can click and drag and do shift click. I'm going to do shift click on a few more things to make sure I'm really covering the moss and getting all of that to turn green. So that's looking pretty good. I'll put my picker away. And now as I brush through, I am much less concerned that I will inadvertently add some green richness to something that doesn't deserve it, because I've locked down that color sample to just the greens and the moss. So my brush strokes become very, very cavalier. I'm just swiping over it at a pretty furious pace here, but I'm only having the green pop happen. All that added up before and after. So that's the tip. Range masks with a brush, a little bit of a hue change, around 12 or so works really well for foliage to get things from like a yellowish green to a nice green pop. Hope you found the tip useful. Got questions? Go ahead and drop them below. And until next time, my name's Scott Davenport. Have fun.